Hi, welcome to Fluketronic. Welcome back to the Copper Flute series. So today we're going to be talking about the air adapter. That is this long piece of tubing here. Talk about what it is, why you might want to use it on your copper flute. And we're also going to look at the differences between the original design, which is what I have on here right this second, and the new design, which I just got in from Eric Räum just a few days ago, and see how they compare and contrast. All right, so first of all, why the air adapter? Well, quite simply, this is a long flute. Now, if I don't have the air adapter on here, I won't take it off because we're going to play it in just a minute. You can play the copper flute directly, of course, without the air adapter. If you do that, your mouth's going to end up right here, and your hands, if you can see that, your hands are going to be way down here. Now, what that does for me is it really puts my wrist at a bad angle, so it will get pretty uncomfortable pretty quickly. The basic problem for me is not so much the finger stretch, the holes are quite close together, but it's the arm reach and putting that wrist at that angle. Now, you can try some techniques like piper's grip that folks would use for, say, low whistle. I've never been good at piper's grip. It's really hard for me to get the holes to seal well with that technique. If it works for you, great, but it doesn't work so well for me. So what are some ways to reduce that reach? Well, there's really only two ways that you can go. You can either shorten the flute, and that is possible. So Eric has a second model out in the key of F. So if you want a shorter flute, you're going to have a higher key. That is one way to deal with that. If you get that higher key, the F flute, then your mouthpiece is going to be closer to the holes, and that will reduce the arm reach. The other technique is with this. So if you can't change where the mouthpiece lies, you can change where your actual mouth is, and that's the point of the air adapter. So with that, what I can do is, this is now your mouthpiece, and you can hold that wherever you want to, right? So it gives you more flexibility about where you're actually blowing into and how far down, what your arm reach is. So your arm reach could be, way down here, or it could be way over here, right? So it just gives you more flexibility on your playing position. All right, so now let's kind of look at the old mouthpiece versus the new one. So this is the old one. I've not played this today, so let's see what happens fresh out of the gate. What happens when I start playing this? Of course, it's not going to do it today. Most of the time when I pick this up, I get wet out on the mouthpiece very, very quickly. It's rare that I can actually finish a song without getting condensation into this mouthpiece. So that's one aspect that we'll look at the new one. The other one is the tubing. Let's go ahead and just take a look at the new guy. All right, so this is the new one, and you can see a couple of things. One, it is shorter. So this is going to be this. So it is shorter, and of course you could cut this any length you wanted. I think this is going to be better because the old one, really, what are you going to do with all this? It really is too long. And it's also quite inflexible. I mean, it is a flexible tube, but it's a lot less bendy than the new one. And I think you might have seen me when I first was adjusting this. It's a little bit trickier to find a good playing position with the old style. And then the third big difference is the mouthpiece. So the old one this one. The old one uses a 3D printed, I'm pretty sure it's a 3D printed mouthpiece there. The new one is much more flexible. Not entirely sure what this is, but it's a flexible plastic tube. Kind of looks like an aquarium style tubing. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure that's exactly what it is. But other than those, well, that is. So that's the three main differences is just more flexible, shorter, and the new mouthpiece. So let's see. Now it did come with a new cap here. Just go ahead and take the cap off. We'll also say that Eric has started making the mouthpieces a little bit different. This is the original style, and I believe which if you're playing direct, he also sent a little plastic ring to keep your mouth off the copper. He's now doing these a little bit different with like a lacquer finish, so that you don't need that. I'm just going to keep the old style one on here since I do intend to play with the air adapter. And that went on a good bit easier. I don't know if that's a slight difference in the printing or just, I don't know, but it did go on a little bit easier. All right, so I'm gonna line this up here. Okay, let's give it a go. Pay no attention to the upper reaches there. I actually have not been playing the copper flute very much lately, and my upper octave technique needs some work. But yeah, already I can tell this is much easier to hold in the mouth. I can actually seal it with the lips, whereas the old, and kind of hold it in my mouth just with my lips. With the old one, I kind of had to put it between the teeth to get it to stay in place. So yeah, much less length to deal with. While still giving you plenty of movement and freedom to move around there. So there you go. If you happen to be one of the early adopters and got the old style, I would highly recommend picking up one of the new styles. Weren't very many of us, so I think Eric might still be giving you a discount, but also don't hold me on that. If you're a new adopter and maybe didn't get the air adapter to start with, this is the only kind he's selling on the site now, so go ahead and pick that up. Yeah, it's a great addition, and yeah, have fun with the copper flute.